Alexa Bliss finally teased some new direction for her story, so we'll take a look at what went down there. We'll also check out a small update on Edge's teasers and much more. So Edge's vignettes have been a big part of Raw since the Money in the Bank event. We've been seeing all these mysterious teasers that is obviously leading towards someone's WWE return. It was pretty much immediately discovered that Edge was the individual behind these teasers. But fans have been taking it to a whole other level with some pretty insane theories. One far-fetched fan theory that's out there is for Edge's return, including The Fiend. Fans think that obviously Edge can't do it alone, especially with Rhea Ripley returning. Now it's 3-on-1 advantage. So it doesn't really matter how dark and scary Edge's new persona may be. The numbers advantage will always win and he'll be outnumbered. Just look at what the Judgment Day recently did to Rey Mysterio. Having that 3-on-1 advantage is just critical. So fans feel like Edge needs to balance out the odds if he's returning for the Judgment Day. Maybe Edge needs one woman by his side to cancel out Rhea Ripley, another man with him to cancel out Damian Priest, and he'll take care of Finn Balor. So the fans' dream trio for this Edge team was Edge, The Fiend, and Beth Phoenix. Now that would be quite the strong trio to counter the Judgment Day with. Bray and Edge never really worked together with each other. Fun fact, WWE actually considered doing a mixed tag team match with Alexa Bliss and Bray Wyatt versus Edge and Beth Phoenix for WrestleMania 37, but that was extremely early on. So all the theories about Edge bringing back The Fiend as this reinforcement and enforcer is fun to talk about hypothetically, but obviously has no shot of actually happening right now. Maybe the fans are right, and Edge will bring in some extra help. It just likely won't be someone like Bray Wyatt. Since these teasers started airing in early July, fans wondered if Edge would be returning in time for Summerslam. And we now know the answer to that question is no. The MSG edition of Raw was the last shot to get Edge on the SummerSlam card, but it looks like he won't be actually wrestling at SummerSlam. But the good news is that he is still plastered all over the Clash at the Castle advertisements. So it looks like Edge will return immediately after SummerSlam to begin his retribution story with the Judgment Day and potentially set up a match for Clash at the Castle itself. In most recent teasers, Edge is seen walking by a Rey Mysterio mask and a picture of Seth Rollins. Edge's history with Rey Mysterio obviously goes back to the early 2000s, and everything they did with each other, from tag team partners to bitter rivals. The Seth Rollins picture is obviously meant to signify Edge's 2021 feud that he had with Seth Rollins. Fans have even reversed the audio of the teaser, and you can also clearly hear, "You think you know me," which is of course the opening line of Edge's iconic theme song. He also writes, in what appears to be blood, the message of, "I am coming too," but the teaser cuts to black before he can write down the final word. So, where could he be coming to? The two most obvious words to fill in that blank spot there could be something like Raw or even SummerSlam. Edge may not have a match at SummerSlam, but you never know if he makes his actual return at the event to save the Mysterios from whatever the Judgment Day will do to them after their tag team match. Like we've been talking about for a while, the SummerSlam event itself always has major returns over the last handful of years. So an Edge return at SummerSlam will keep that tradition going as well. Or even if he doesn't return at SummerSlam, the Raw after SummerSlam also seems like another good spot for that return. So it looks like we're finally in the endgame for all these Edge teasers. If we don't see any physical return at SummerSlam, maybe we'll see one last vignette at SummerSlam to finish off that message that he was previously writing. Some big new potential stories for Alexa Bliss was hinted at on this week's Raw, so we'll take a look at that. One of those stories being the story of someone stealing Lily. This was something that was allegedly being thrown around in the writer's room over the last few weeks. That story never fully played out and came to television. But this week's Raw included a moment that heavily hinted at that storyline idea. During Alexa's match with Doudrop, Nikki went over and grabbed Lily to mock Alexa with it and try to cause a distraction. Alexa was still able to pick up the win and secure Lily after the match. But it was a little bit of a close call there that seemed to hint at the idea of someone taking Lily. Lily was picked up and held by another superstar. We haven't seen that happen much. But maybe this is a little side story that could continue. Maybe Nikki is that superstar that will continue teasing Alexa and trying to fully steal Lily away from her. So be on the lookout for that small story. The other story that was teased was the idea of Alexa Bliss finally climbing back into the title picture. Have to remember that it's been 4 full years since Alexa Bliss has held a major singles title. Her last singles title reign was summer 2018 as Raw Women's Champion. Ronda Rousey took that title from her, and Alexa hasn't won a major world title again ever since 2018. Alexa said during her pre-match interview that she doesn't care if Bianca or Becky wins at Summerslam. She wants to face whoever is the winner and take back her spot on the top of the women's division. And since it's been 4 years since she held that title, it definitely seems like appropriate timing for her character to wake up and realize that she should be focusing on going after that championship. So it's a good and strong sign that Alexa Bliss may be involved with the title picture right after SummerSlam. The Bianca Belair vs Becky Lynch match at SummerSlam should be the final chapter in their story. Becky kicked the story off 1 year ago by turning heel and robbing Bianca of her title. Becky continued to cheat and secure wins over Bianca until WrestleMania 38, where Bianca finally got her revenge and defeated Becky. Now we get to SummerSlam 2022, 1 full year later, and it feels like this is it. If Bianca wins, she'll correct the honor of SummerSlam 2021 and redeem herself. If Becky Lynch wins, she'll get a second straight win over Bianca Belair at SummerSlam, and Bianca will be living that nightmare all over again. But regardless of who wins, this should be the end of their story. That opens up the door for someone new to get involved in the title picture. Sure, Alexa is a former 5-time champion, but she hasn't had a full title feud in 4 years. So she'll feel like a fresh face in that title scene. And even though Alexa Bliss has called out Bianca and Becky and said she's next in line, that obviously doesn't mean she'll get that #1 contender spot that easily. Maybe Alexa can secure a big win over the loser of the SummerSlam Raw Women's title match, and that will escalate her into the #1 contender spot. And since she would be the #1 contender with the spotlight on her, maybe Alexa's internal story with her persona, actions, and Lily will be back up too. Lily is still around, so it has to be for a reason. There has to be some point where we'll see some sort of twist involving Alexa and Lily, so maybe that's still coming up soon as well. But what are your thoughts on today's stories with Edge and Alexa Bliss? Leave your comments below, don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.